Hey, welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Eamon Vion. Today I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Mike.
Hello.
And as we are recording this episode, we are watching Mike play Hardspace Shipbreaker. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out the YouTube version of this episode. But that being said, the main thing I wanted to talk about today, nothing really news related. I feel like we've gotten a lot of news bombshells over the past few weeks. But rather, this is a more reflective episode. I kind of want to just bring up the topic of our biggest gaming disappointments.
Well, I do want to point out one thing that is happening tomorrow, which is a new Smash Bros. Character is getting revealed.
Why don't we just talk about that for a little bit? Because I feel like that it's been a while, and obviously that's understandable due to COVID. But like, it's wild to me that there's still 5 characters coming out, including this one.
Yeah, I mean, are there
Yeah.
that many Fire Emblem characters left?
It's gonna be
No,
Waluigi.
It's not going to be
It's gonna be
Waluigi.
You know what I fear? I fear that it's a Pokemon. And I think that makes a lot of sense, especially with the DLC getting revealed soon for Sword and Shield.
That would be almost as disappointing as another Fire Emblem character.
I mean,
but
let's be real though. One of the 5 has to be a Pokemon, right?
all the Pokemon are super fun to play, so I really can't say anything. Like, there's not a single Pokemon in the game
Oh
that I
yeah,
don't
yeah. The
really enjoy
Pokemon are a
playing.
blast to play. Just conceptually, it's like not as exciting, I think.
Yeah,
as
the
a
Pokemon all
pick.
have like exciting and varied movesets, which just isn't true for the Fire Emblem characters. So, like,
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, memes and jokes aside, there's no way we're getting any more Fire Emblem characters. Like, there's
I don't
just
think
no
they
way.
could possibly
disagree.
fit another
I
Fire
think
Emblem
I
character.
could absolutely see the final one being another Fire Emblem character if there's another Fire Emblem game coming out.
I don't think there will be though. Like, I mean, all these characters are getting released this year, right? Or no, this year and next year, right? I don't think there's a new Fire Emblem game in that time frame.
I thought there was like a remake announced or something.
I'm not sure, but I don't believe so. But anyways, yeah, exciting stuff. We'll get. We got the first member of this Fighters Pass was Min Min from ARMS, which I don't really know anything about ARMS, but it seemed like a really cool pick. Like she seemed
Yeah, it seemed
really
like a
to
fun
play.
pick, but I actually have not played the game since she was added. I don't think.
Yeah, I haven't picked up the Fighters Pass yet. But
Yeah,
I'm sure
I don't know that
I
I'm
will
going
at
to
some
until it's
point.
over because I'm so afraid of getting another Fire Emblem character on the roster.
Your pressure level decreasing.
Right, but I think I definitely will pick it up at some point, right? I think it's just fun, regardless of like who's added to the roster. It's just cool having so many characters in that
Yeah,
game and
I-
stages and music, you know?
I think I bought the Fighter Pass like first thing because I am irresponsible with my money, I guess.
Your pressure
No, I don't think that's
I-
irresponsible.
I
I'm gonna
bought
pick
it
up
right
eventually.
after Joker was revealed.
I
that,
bought the
that
first
sort of
one.
blew me away.
Oh yeah, the first one I bought instantly.
As soon as I
Like,
bought Smash. And then the second one, as soon as Min Min was revealed, I'm like, that could be fun. And then haven't played Smash since.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, I mean, obviously, like, the shocking thing about the Fighter Pass 1 was that there were. Let me correct me if I'm wrong, but Byleth was the only Nintendo character, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
all the rest were wild third-party picks that, like, you know, a few years ago we would have said were crazy ideas, right? We got Banjo, we got Joker from Persona, we got Terry Bogard, we got
Yeah, I would say that the least crazy one was Hero from Dragon Quest.
from Dragon Quest, yeah. I think I'm missing someone. Am I missing someone?
Piranha Plant maybe, but that doesn't really count.
That's unusual.
Piranha Plant wasn't part of the past, though.
No.
What was that, Mike?
What just happened? That was unusual. That's not supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah, on the video, yeah. But yeah, no, I think, you know, like maybe we're sort of due for some first party picks now, right? Min Min's from ARMS, which is a Nintendo first party game. It wouldn't surprise me if we get another first party game. I do want to see a couple more crazy third party picks though. But like
yeah, I still
part of
want
me's
the
afraid that all
Doomslayer.
of those got like used up or whatever in the first one.
A lot of rumors are saying a Capcom character, and I'd be totally chill with like Dante.
Oh yeah, Dante would be pretty good.
Yeah, Dante would be really cool.
Yeah, Dante would be a really good pick.
A lot
Like,
of
I
people
would
are
have
still
zero-
like holding out hope for Genos.
Yeah, those people are out of their mind. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Like, I
Nobody
don't
cares
think
about
anyone
Gino.
really
Like the only
cares.
people who care about Gino are like
You're
you
right,
know,
Gino.
the
Genos is a
people memeing.
character.
Like nobody's played Super Mario RPG. Like
I was just gonna say, yeah, the character's name is Gino. Genos is a character from One Punch Man, so that's my bad.
yeah,
Uh,
I knew who you meant though.
but yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
if they added Genes, that would be very cool.
yeah. instantly, yeah, that would make me buy the fighter pass.
But
you know?
you know,
And
if they're
obviously,
gonna
you've
add an
got
anime
your
character, you all know who it needs to be.
meme picks. Everyone's saying Goku. Everyone's saying Waluigi. Like those two aren't gonna happen ever. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
would
feel
be
like
one of the
Waluigi.
people
There's a
saying
slim chance.
No, I'm pretty sure Sakurai said that it'll never be Waluigi.
He said the
Like-
same about Ridley though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like these things are always fun, and I feel like, you know, I almost got used to the cadence of every couple months we got building up to the hype of a new Smash release, and I feel like that's definitely slowed down a lot. So it's welcome seeing that this is happening tomorrow
Yeah, I really miss it. Like,
in these times. Yeah,
yeah, we need it more than ever.
We do.
Sakurai's wholesome trolling of the fan base.
Oh, it's
Yeah, if they
always fun to see.
if they announce
Sakurai
Dante
trolls.
tomorrow, I'll probably pick up Devil May Cry 5.
Honestly,
Yeah, Devil May Cry.
I feel like Dante would fit really well in a Smash game. He has
He would.
like the
but
humor.
is he like too extreme for
no,
Smash
he's
Bros?
not edgy
Like,
at all.
in
He
terms
is
of violence?
exactly as extreme as Bayonetta.
He is Dante.
They
People
might,
think he's edgy,
like-
but he's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, no, he's actually a kind of a goofball.
Yeah, he's very much a goofball.
All right, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's not a terrible pick.
Yeah.
Was Devil May Cry made by the same studio that made Bayonetta? No, they're two different studios, but I feel
No,
like they're
Bayonetta's
Different
flat-
studios, same person.
same person.
Yeah.
Same,
Same
like-
people, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Team. Yeah, because it's like Team Little Devils, I think, made Devil May Cry, and it was Team Little Angels made.
You can definitely see
Bayonetta.
similarities in like their style.
Yeah, but
Oh.
Bayonetta's Platinum Games, and Devil May Cry is not. It's Capcom.
Capcom, yeah. But yeah, just yeah, that was a quick diversion, but just back to the subject matter at hand here. Disappointing games, and I'm sure like with gaming being, you know, us being as passionate about gaming as we are, as are so many people who play games, right, are very passionate about them, you're bound to get disappointed
A
here and
lot.
there, you know? So yeah, I thought, you know, we mentioned this a few episodes ago. It could be fun just going through some of our top gaming disappointments in our gaming careers.
Yeah, so I think the first one, like we should point out, is probably one. Sorry, one that I was looking up a video to because I needed a date for a game I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I think one of the most disappointing games that most gamers have experienced is No Man's Sky original release,
Yeah,
Original
that's
release,
a good
yeah.
point. Yep.
and that
Yeah,
was pretty
that-
recent. You know, I
No
imagine
Man's
a lot
Sky-
of our audience.
Yeah, we've talked about No Man's Sky a lot on this podcast, but like just to recap, like the release of that game was infamous. It was being built up to be some revolutionary experience that really has been made before, and when it came out, like a lot of the things Sean Murray said would be in the game weren't in the game, and it was really sort of a bare bones experience. And you know, like yes, at launch it was highly, highly disappointing. But just to give credit where credit's due, Hello Games has definitely sort of made up for that, I think, with how much free stuff they're putting in the game. Free
Yeah,
substantial stuff.
Yeah, it just
I
had a
agree
big
that-
update, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Origins update, and I think I'm probably going to check it out again because the game is still not the game that they said it was going to be, really, in my opinion. But it is a good game. No, I won't even say that. It's a game that you can kick back and enjoy with some buds. I still don't think that the gameplay loop is meaningful at all. Like, if you don't enjoy just landing on a planet, walking around for a bit, seeing what's there, or if you don't enjoy like just the value of building a base, like even though that base is almost completely worthless to you, like if you don't just enjoy building or enjoy just
Yeah.
walking around, like if you don't enjoy the intrinsic value of those things, there's no extrinsic rewards really in this game. It's just not there.
For me, for No Man's Sky, exploration is a huge, huge, huge deal to me in gaming. Like, it might be my favorite sort of gameplay feature of all time. I love
Yeah.
exploring things and just being blown away by environments. That's a huge reason as to why I love the Souls games so much, you know, exploring those environments and
Right.
uncovering things. And I think No Man's Sky does a decent job at exploration, and I think each update sort of ups how good the exploration is in that game. So for me, I think I think No Man's Sky is a good game. I think we differ a little bit on that. I don't think it's a phenomenal game, but I think it's a good game.
I think it's an okay game.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad game.
Yeah.
And I'm
It
here to
was,
see, like
but it's not anymore.
yeah, it started out as a bad game, and Hello Games has really turned that around. So, just sort of following the trend, maybe it'll become a great game here in the next couple of years. So
Maybe.
I definitely like keeping an eye on it for sure. It's always pleasantly surprising when I see, okay, No Man's Sky is getting another major update.
Yeah. I mentioned No Man's Sky because did you have something you wanted to say about No Man's Sky, Mike?
I've been following No Man's Sky for a while. Like, I remember wanting it at release, and then hearing the release was a dumpster fire, and then waiting, and then like, oh, this update's great, and then I just never play it.
Was certain that No Man's Sky was going to be a disappointment from the moment I heard of it because of a little game called Spore.
True.
I watched when I was a kid. Let's see, how old was I in 2006? Not very old. I would have been like 10-ish, I think. And I watched the E3 2006 Spore demonstration. Oh no, I would have been 9 at the time. I didn't turn 10 until later that year. So a little 9-year-old Connor watched the Spore 18-minute demonstration, a video that is infamous among any Spore fan, because almost everything in this trailer, it just was completely destroyed by the time the game actually came out in 2008, 2 years later. And this was the first game that I ever wanted to like follow closely, and like, I was a kid. It was the first time I ever really, I had internet, and I was watching this game.
Really made you jaded for life.
Like every couple of days I was checking, and yeah, the game came out, but I was checking stuff all the time, but like this was kind of before game development was like
publicized.
I mean, it's not an open book now, but this was before like developer updates or anything existed,
Yeah, back in those days, you had to rely on like what, Game Informer and other various sites.
A ton of stuff that was in the trailer that I watched just wasn't in the game.
Oh,
like
and
entire like Spore is split into stages, and like the cell stage, the creature stage, the tribal stage. There were entire stages removed from the game. There were like the space stage, which was like almost kind of the meat of the game. Like that was the end game that got super stripped down. What was advertised to me in this demo that I watched, I must have watched this thing 50 sometimes, like over those 2 years, because I just was so excited for this game, and I was seeing it as like this almost realistic, like not evolution simulator, but like you got to build these creatures and they would act realistically, and like it was fairly violent. Like your creature was hunting like it was a real animal and stuff, and then all of that got cut out to make this cutesy game that like was extremely surface level and frankly not spectacular. Maybe, I imagine its reviews have probably got like 7s out of 10, maybe 6s or 7s. Like,
yeah,
it's probably
right.
a 5 or a 6 for me. Like,
I remember at the time, I was young too. I'm a few years older than you, but I remember hearing about Spore, and there was so much hype around it, and I was so interested. Right, I was like, this looks like a really cool game. But I never really played games on my PC or anything like that, so I sort of just forgot about it, going forward. So I was spared the immense disappointment. But I remember hearing about Spore and being like, oh my god, this is a revolutionary game.
Yeah, I remember reading about it.
It has an 84 on Metacritic, so
that's way higher than I'd give it. I tried it out a few.
Yeah, you bought it
couple months ago.
A podcast. Was it best?
Yeah.
Did we record remotely back then, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were remote. Yeah, he bought it live.
Yeah.
COVID era.
Yeah, we were talking about space games.
Yeah, no, I tried it, and like I wanted to like it a lot, but I just got so bored.
I have a friend who built we were little kids, and he had his mom go out because he knew his computer couldn't run Spore, and they spent a lot of money on a new computer just to play Spore. And like, obviously we were little kids, so like even though we were not happy with this game, we still played like an absolute ton of it, and it actually ended up getting him into Civ games. You got the Civilization State 4 is somewhat like Civ.
I gotta step in here. We were young and poor.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was you bought this game, you
Yeah.
better get your 40, 60 hours out of it, or else you're gonna
Right,
have a
yeah.
bad time.
Yeah, however much Spore, like, this was, I was 11 when the game came out, I guess, and I, had saved up my money to buy it. I'd had 2 years to save up my money, so it was possible, but I had never been this excited for a game before, and never have been since, because I
Yeah,
don't have it in me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, not gonna get burned again.
With maybe the exception of Super Mario Galaxy, I was very excited for that game, and I was not disappointed. But
I mean,
yeah.
I'm still excited for games. I get burned all the time though. I remember one of my greatest disappointments. I have a bunch. I remember being really excited for Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't know
knew
if
it. I knew you were gonna say that.
ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever talked about it on the podcast, but Mass Effect, one of those games I played a lot. I think
No, I'm right there with you, Mike.
I played
But
through
yeah, go ahead.
one. There was a point in my life where every week I have beat Mass Effect 1 at least once or twice for like a month.
jeez, that's a long game.
Where I actually got really good at going through it fast. Like it'd take me about 2 nights, so about 10 hours of playthrough.
Wow.
Just
Oh yeah, you did speed.
it'd be new game plus, new game plus, new game plus. Like
Wow.
it got real goofy at some point. But I played 2 when it came out. I liked 2. 3 was I got really damaged with 3 because of that stupid dog. But and then I am like, oh, when's there going to be a new Mass Effect? And then Andromeda was announced, and I understandably was like, oh, this is going to be great. Saw some trailers, still wasn't disappointed. Game came out, and then the videos started.
Yeah. No, I'm like right there with you, Mike. Like I love Mass Effect. It's like probably in my top 5 like gaming series. Like period. Like I started with Mass Effect 2. Blew me away. I was like, what is this and where has it been my entire life? I'm a big fan of like space stories, right? And this was like the perfect sci-fi RPG, right? And then 3 came out, and I really liked 3 as well. Obviously, the ending wasn't as strong, and I don't have as many strong feelings as some people do about the ending of 3, but I really liked 3. And I even went back and played 1, loved 1. 1 was a little janky, but,
One is
that's
jank,
okay.
But it's early
Yeah.
BioWare. Early BioWare has always been
But
kind of jank.
by and large, that trilogy really holds a special place in my heart, like, and then Andromeda got announced, and it was like, oh my god, I'm going back into this world, and then more and more details came out, and then reviews came out, and I was like, like, look at how they massacred my
Look at
boy.
what they've done to my boy.
Yeah. It's just immense disappointment, like, to take this franchise that was like some of the heights of my gaming experiences, to break it to an extent where it's nigh unplayable, like, it's just, that was a crime.
I'm not
That
even mad at the
sucked.
gameplay of Andromeda. Like the gameplay, from what I played before I got bored with it, was actually kind of fun. But
Yeah, I mean,
the story was
I'm-
lacking.
yeah, like, just, I've actually haven't even played it, like, it's just, the impressions were enough for me. Just the fact that I know that it's, like, nowhere even close to the original trilogy is, I don't want to experience that disappointment, so, yeah.
Now, I've also been disappointed before, but this one's because of Peter Molyneux.
Oh, you bought his lies, huh?
I always bought his lies. I bought it for 2 games in a row, because after I played Fable 1, I had a great time. Although Fable 2 was also good. I have no bad things to say about Fable 2.
Yeah, I played Fable. I forget if I played 2. I definitely played one of the Fables. I don't know if it was
the one
1
where
or
you
2.
were a king?
No.
Okay, then it was probably Fable 1 or 2.
Yeah, and-
what console was it on is the key question here.
Pretty sure it was on 360.
Then it was probably Fable 2.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed Fable quite a bit, but like I remember hearing these interviews with Peter, being like promising like revolutions.
Oh no, Peter
like-
Peter Molyneux was the original Todd Howard. Like that man would promise you the world and then give you a globe.
I've seen a lot of Fable, and like the word revolutionary never once crossed my mind. Like
Fable
it's just a
2
bog
was
standard
promised,
RPG that's
like-
pretty good.
Fable 2
Yeah,
was
it-
promised the
it's
world. It just never
it's just,
delivered.
competent. I think that's the right word.
Yeah,
Fable is
it's a
competent.
good RPG.
But, like,
they
the
always
way
looked
you
fun
hear-
to me.
Molyneux talk, he like it was so bizarre. It's like he was. I guess he's a really good snake oil salesman because he
Yeah.
he really hype up his own games to be like, oh my, these are going to be like game changing experiences, and they never were.
Look at this.
He did the same
co-op.
thing when he was developing Kinect games with Microsoft.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, I remember being really excited for the Kinect as well.
What was that kid's name? Milo?
That's a huge.
Yeah, Milo.
That's a great segue. I like something I didn't even think of until you mentioned it. I was actually pretty excited for Kinect back
I
when
thought it was a cool bit of tech, and then I'm just like, ha,
just because
that's funny.
the tech behind it like seemed so futuristic at the time. Just the fact that you could like swipe the air and it would interact with the UI. I was like, what is this?
It
This
seems
seems like out
pretty
of some
cool tech, and they just
It is,
Kinda
but like
squandered it?
nothing. Yeah, like nothing meaningful gameplay wise came out of that. Like
Yeah.
I tried playing Kinect games, I was just like, this is far worse than like the Wii shovelware we were getting at the time.
Yeah, I honestly think I had more fun with the PlayStation 2 iToy than I did with the Kinect.
Yeah, the Kinect.
Because the iToy knew what it was. Like, it knew that it was just this goofy, stupid thing that you'd play with for 20 minutes and then, like, be done with. And, like, the
And
Kinect
I think-
thought it was a gaming revolution and ruined a couple of games.
Yeah. Kinect ruined Rare. Like,
Can we
Yeah,
talk about
let's be
how
real.
every game at the time had Kinect support? Like even
Yeah,
Skyrim.
that's what I was thinking of.
had
Like,
stupid
yeah.
Kinect support. Like,
Okay,
you
but
could-
wasn't
really
Skyrim,
tried to
couldn't
make
you,
it
like,
happen.
do your shouts or something?
yeah, you could just start screaming at your TV. Your character.
Okay,
was-
I had a mod for that
shout.
on PC. I thought that was kind of neat. I thought it was
is-
kind of cool that you
it is
could, like,
kinda
say
neat.
the...
But at the same time, it's just kind of goofy.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely goofy, but that doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
I just want to point out really quick the immense influence Nintendo has on the industry. You know, like I don't think we would have Kinect if the Wii motion controls weren't a thing. You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
probably true.
Wii-
Yeah, it was.
Wii
It was.
came out, and Sony and Microsoft were like, "Oh my God, this Nintendo has something new, something revolutionary on their hands. We need to catch up, or we'll be left behind." Sony came out with the PlayStation Move, which were essentially just Wii remotes, and Microsoft came out with Kinect, and they really tried to push those into games for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, like, and that continued into Xbox One. If you guys remember, originally Kinect was mandatory with Xbox One.
Yeah. That was.
That's
a
how it was
mistake.
designed. And then after the insane pushback after E3, they literally had to go in and separate the two. Like this was after the console had been like revealed, after like this was like basically right before launch. They were like, okay, Kinect is not required anymore.
They
Yeah,
also-
you remember, like,
Xbox
the
One
drink
was
it-
originally designed with Kinect fully integrated in it.
and now it's
Yeah.
completely gone.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
you
no,
can't,
I don't know
don't
anybody
even
that
think you
uses
can
Kinect.
get a Kinect anymore.
Yeah, I
like,
think you
straight
might
up.
be able to, but they don't.
Yeah, you can definitely get a hold of them because I know a lot of people have like done hacky workarounds and stuff, and like there are a couple of neat things you can do on PC with a Kinect. Like I've seen people doing like shoddy mocap with one. Like the technology's cool,
Yeah.
but the game
like-
didn't make sense for games because like you look at a game and like nobody playing Mario wants to actually jump, and that's what Kinect is saying you're gonna have to do, and that's not fun. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo understood that like yeah, shaking your Wii remote to make Mario spin, like that's a tiny movement
Tiny
that is kind of
movement.
analogous to the spin, but like Kinect, like I remember one of my friends thinking like, oh, with Kinect you'll be able to like pretend you're holding a gun and it'll be able to see you move your trigger finger to shoot, and I'm like, that's not gonna be fun. That's just gonna feel weird, like to move your finger, even if that does work. Like,
And it does seem a little bit like now that we're talking about it, it seems like Kinect was in some ways sort of a precursor to some of the ideas that make VR really cool.
yeah. Oh yeah, I think PlayStation Move and Kinect both were like on their way to VR. You know, like
But yeah, and
it's
VR
like the
is
Oculus
great,
Quest has
yeah.
the hand tracking that Kinect
Yeah.
claimed to be able to do, and
no. Yeah, the Kinect
Yeah.
itself though, like that's such a stain, I feel like, on Microsoft. Especially, you know, I think the most egregious thing was making it initially at least required for Xbox One.
Yeah.
That really sort of made Xbox lose a lot of ground this generation.
And what I learned, I remember reading memes and stuff way back of people like being able to shout Xbox off or something.
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah.
no, that'd be. You'd see that all
I didn't
the
think that
time.
was real, but apparently that actually worked.
Oh, it's
You would go-
totally real.
Yeah, no, you could be
I-
playing games with someone and shout Xbox turn off, and the Xbox will pop up a prompt saying, "Do you want to turn off?"
How did they not know that that would be a thing after like years of people in like CS:GO or whatever CS it was at the time? I think it was still CS:GO. telling people Alt F4 like gives you infinite health. and
Oh no,
stuff.
people
Like,
doing that, or people. I think now it's like Twitch donations that'll trigger Alexas.
Oh, that's really funny.
Like it's always gonna happen. People just don't.
Yeah, but how did Microsoft not know? Like they should know better.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of these decisions are crazy. Like I definitely feel like we were like in some bizarre alternate universe, like Connect would be mainstream and everything would be motion based and like games would be made with that in mind. And I think we were at that crossroads for a little bit, you know, like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo must have heavily considered that maybe this is what gaming is going to be from now on. And thankfully people were like
No.
objectively like refuted that, emphatically refuted that. So
Yeah, there was a lot
That's
of
good.
weird bits. That generation was just weird.
it was very weird. Yeah.
There was a lot of
Very
experimentation.
experimental. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of like hardware that was disappointing, yeah, Connect was extremely disappointing. Another one that was personally disappointing for me, which at the time probably wasn't, because when I was younger, like, you know, like pretty much everything amazed me, even if it wasn't amazing. You know, case in point, Sonic 06.
Yeah, I was
got
gonna say
excited
Sonic Heroes because I didn't have a console to play 06 on.
Oh, Sonic
But,
06 is also a disappointment.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we can get into that for a sec, but I was going to say the PlayStation 3 at launch, right?
Really?
So I didn't. So I got a PlayStation 3, I think before a 360, and I remember just being super excited for it because I played my PS2 all the time, and I remember playing it. I remember getting a launch game. It was called Genji: The Days of the Blade,
That
and I
sounds
remember-
terrible.
and it was very bad. And but I'd look at it and be like, oh my gosh, look at the HD graphics. This is amazing. And you know, at the time, convinced myself like this is an amazing game, but it was extremely boring. And I essentially had nothing to play on my PS3. And then I switched, you know, like to 360 because like that's what everyone in middle school and stuff was playing. And I had a great time there for a couple of years. You know, like all I did was play on my 360. And eventually, obviously, when the PS3 exclusives started rolling, I sort of transitioned back. But you know, the PS3 at first, at least for me, was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, for me that's got to be the Wii U because I looked at like what Nintendo, like the way they were talking about the Wii U and stuff, and what it looked like to me was a return to form to like the GameCube era.
Right, like
And it
a
kinda-
console made for like an actual, like not your
console made for
grandma,
people who
you
like
know?
video games. Yeah, like, but it did end up being a return to form for the GameCube days, as in a lot of
No one
games
bought it.
just don't get an entry. Nobody bought it.
Yeah.
You know.
except GameCube.
is a-
A lot of people bought. Didn't it sell extremely well?
No,
No.
it didn't.
Didn't?
The
Yeah.
GameCube and N64 both sold very poorly. No, the GameCube sold better than the N64, I think, but not.
It's weird
You know.
because
I
we
mean,
look
when
back
you
at that with
compare
those
it to
like rose-tinted
PlayStation and
goggles.
Xbox. No, I mean like I think by any metric, those consoles have some of the best games of all time on there.
The
But
Wii
it's
U
just-
does not, though. Like,
But I think just I'm talking about the N64 and GameCube.
yeah, I
Right.
know.
But I
It's
think
just-
with the proliferation of like online gaming, that's when gaming really sort of became more mainstream and like the sales of consoles really picked up. You know, that's why we saw like things like the 360 and eventually the PS3 sell gangbusters, whereas Nintendo really didn't.
yeah,
Nintendo's
But you know, like
been-
that's not entirely true because like the PS2 is like what the second best selling console of all time. So maybe
it's
that
far and wide the best.
Yeah.
selling console. of all time.
But
It had
and
a
a
very
large
long
part of
life,
that
too.
is due to the the DVD drive as well. So
Yeah, actually, it
Lots-
might not be best if you include handhelds. I think the Game Boy might have outsold it, but I'm
that's
not
why.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's why I said second best. Like overall, I think best
Yeah.
dedicated console, but maybe not if you include handhelds. But anyways, But yeah, Wii U was definitely a disappointment. I remember like getting one, and the only game I really played was Mario Kart. I think to this day, I only own like 2 or 3 Wii U games.
I sold my Wii U, and like I think this was after I started collecting games. I still sold my Wii U because I just never played it. I just care so little about it. There's not a single game on it that I'm missing at this point that hasn't been ported to Switch.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo
Yeah.
really made an intelligent decision. You know, like halfway through the Wii U's life cycle, I think they saw the writing on the wall and they were like, yeah, this isn't working out, and we need to pivot the development of these games to release on Switch. Like, so they put, like they obviously still released like Breath of the Wild for the Wii U, but the Switch version was the one to get.
Yeah, but look at all the like Nintendo properties that never got a Wii U game. Like there was no Metroid. Arguably there was no Zelda because it didn't get an original Zelda. Like Breath of the Wild is a Switch game if you ask anybody. Like, it just, I don't know. I thought it was going to be this return to the GameCube days, and it just wasn't. I'm having trouble thinking of games that have been like a huge disappointment for me though, because Spore burned me so young. I just stopped getting excited for things.
I mean,
yeah, that's.
I've been disappointed a lot. I was disappointed in Fallout 76, even though I didn't actually play it.
Let's
didn't surprise me at all. I was 100% ready for that.
I mean, I saw the writing on the wall for that, but still had some hope that it would be somewhat decent. But yeah, what a catastrophe that was. But apparently, I just read an article today arguing that Fallout 76 is now an amazing game, and I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I can't
There's
believe
no way.
it. There's no way.
I know people who loved that game on launch.
I mean,
I played huge Bethesda fanboys.
Or I played it when it was like free for a little bit, because I'm still not buying it. And honestly, other than the fact that I went to go do like the NPC missions, and the game froze into an infinite loading screen, it wasn't that bad.
Other than the fact that the game didn't work on a fundamental level.
Yeah, other than the fact the game didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And emphasis on
terms
that,
of-
on that swear. The game just didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I just
want a game I want to highlight, and I'm almost positive neither of you have heard of this at all. But back to the PS3, when I was trying to convince myself it was a system worth getting, right? There was this exclusive that came out for it that I got, and I was trying to convince all my friends, like, this is a revolutionary new first-person shooter. You gotta play this. And it was just awful. It might be like
What
the
was
worst
it?
game I've ever played. It's called Haze.
Oh,
I don't know
I
if you
remember
guys have heard of
Haze.
it.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I
It
remember
was so
the
bad, and I somehow
snafu.
convinced myself that this game was like, to be fair, after I played it, I was like, okay, this sucks. But like watching the trailers and stuff, and like the marketing or whatever for this game, I somehow convinced myself it was going to be an incredible first-person shooter.
No, the previews
You're
and
a class 7
everything
susceptible.
were like everything about the game, like the previews, like the Game Informer previews. Like, this is going to be a great game, and then it released.
Yeah, and it was just like unfinished and very bad. Like, I don't know how to eloquently describe it better
I mean,
than
it
that.
was a shooter about doing drugs, and
Yeah.
how doing drugs is bad.
And it just sucked. Like, it sucked on every level.
I just remembered I was pretty hyped for the PS Vita too, and I guess that counts as pretty disappointing. But I didn't feel particularly burned there because I won mine.
No,
from Taco
I
Bell.
still really like my
On a
Vita.
PS Vita to talk
Oh,
about.
you won a PS Vita? That's really cool.
Yeah, dude, I have pretty good luck with winning those weird contests. I just entered
You know,
one for PS5, and mark my words, I'm gonna win that thing.
Taco Bell's actually doing one right now for Xbox Series X.
Yeah, I would enter if I could eat Taco Bell, but I have celiac disease. So.
I mean, I can just give codes away because I can't win it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still get the cups because I drink the cups at work, but like I have two sitting next to me. I just have no use for the codes because I don't think I can
But-
actually win.
I like really felt, and like the Nintendo Switch has kind of fulfilled the promise that the Vita made. Like I wanted console level games on a handheld, and the Vita kind of had all the potential to do that, and they just never did. They never made any games for the dang thing. Like I liked it. I bought games on it, but
Yeah. And I think my view on Vita is a little biased simply because I played one of my now all-time
Yeah,
favorite games,
P4G,
Persona
yeah.
4, on it. Yeah, Persona 4 Golden. But, like, just the idea of this HD, small, portable handheld was so attractive at the time. And obviously, the Switch came out and just fully delivered on that. But I think, the Vita was the first sort of attempt.
yeah, the Vita's missing a couple of things that like it would really need. Like I really wanted to use the Vita, like PS4 remote play is pretty cool. on the Vita, and I was
I've
like,
done that a
well,
few times.
you can do that with your PC too, but like
Yeah.
the Vita's hardware only supports 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and like the latency there's just not good enough. Like if it supported 5 gigahertz, because that screen is so low resolution and everything, but still looks really good, it would have been an amazing device for that. But
Yeah.
just some weird decisions they made. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if that was a decision. I don't know if 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi was a thing when the Vita
I don't
came
think
out.
it was.
I don't think it was
okay.
either.
But yeah, it just, I don't know. I found it fairly disappointing.
I think that was
Yeah,
still
and I-
supported when we started this podcast.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
and-
I remember me and Ahmed talking about it.
They tried to like support it with some like notable exclusives. There was like an Uncharted game on there and a Killzone game.
I have
And,
that.
you know-
I have the Uncharted game, and I think it's pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any games for the Vita that I think are bad. All of them are very good.
Yeah, it's just
And
it
I
didn't
also
have,
liked.
the thing. I think the problem with the Vita is that like to a lot of gamers, it didn't have like that one must-have title. You know, like 360 had Halo 3. You know, PS3 has Uncharted. You know,
I think if they'd really put some money behind it, that could have been Little Big Planet Vita, because I like that was the first game I
Right, yeah.
thought of when I was like thinking of like disappointing games. I was like, Little Big Planet Vita was kind of disappointing, but the reason it was disappointing was because it didn't have a player base to make the levels that like all the other Little Big Planet games had. Because
Mhm.
like it had the best gimmicks, like the back touchscreen on the Vita. I thought was stupid at first, but like all the games that used it did neat stuff with it, in my opinion.
Oh, I remember being disappointed in Little Big Planet 3.
Yeah, that,
was
a
a
disappointment.
buggy mess.
It wasn't even made by Media Molecule.
That was made
I don't
by
think.
Sumo Digital, I think.
Yeah.
And
That's a whole, there's a Scott the Woz video about like games made by like games that developers have abandoned and a new developer picks it up and does a bad job.
that's a pretty normal occurrence in the game industry.
Yeah.
Like the
That's why I have no faith in any future Uncharted games,
Like,
Yeah,
Of course,
I
it's
mean-
getting better because like we have Toys for Bob doing the new Crash game, and it looks better than the original 3 to me. So
yeah, when you can get like
Yeah, and I-
original devs on it, it's not as bad. Like usually they get like
Destiny probably counts as an extremely disappointing game for a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah, especially coming off of Halo. I mean,
Yeah.
Destiny definitely grew into something that has like a super dedicated fan base now. But I think, yeah, when it first came out, it was so sort of bare. Like it was just not what people wanted, I think. But to give Destiny, I guess, credit, it was the first games as a service game, was it not?
I mean, you can say that, but MMOs have existed for a long time, and they're games as service. Like
It has, but I feel like okay, let me put it like this. I feel like the Division, for example, would not exist if it were not for Destiny.
yeah,
I feel
probably.
like probably Marvel's
It was the first
Avengers
MMO light
would
game.
Not, yeah, Marvel's Avengers would not be what it is if not for Destiny. Like I feel like
And
Destiny
what
had
a shame
massive,
that would be.
right. But what I'm getting at is Destiny had a massive impact on the gaming industry. Whether you think that's good or bad, like obviously you can debate
I don't
that.
have a problem with games as a service, but Avengers shouldn't have been one. Like,
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Like, if you compare like two adjacent properties like Marvel's Avengers and then compared to the PS4 Spider-Man game that came out like a couple years ago, and it's like night and day in terms of like just the quality of the experience, like the gameplay, the cutscenes, like it's just totally different.
yeah.
But yeah, I think. Do you guys have any other disappointments that come to mind? I feel like I aired most of mine.
Yeah, I think
I have a long history of disappointments, but a lot of them I don't remember because I've suppressed those memories.
Yeah, I just remember
There were a
every
lot of
single
early
time a
accesses.
Sonic game, like before like you could look up on before I knew that you could look up on the internet and see like an entire feature list in a game. I bought several Sonic games
Oh,
hoping
yeah,
that
so
they would
did
have
I.
Chow Gardens, and they never did.
Yeah.
And, that was like painful.
I remember there were some early access games that's like, oh, this looks really good now. And it just
Yeah, there's one game called like Starforge, I think, that like I remember Notch talking about it on his blog while he was developing Minecraft.
back when we
like
took
way
Notch
back
seriously.
before I knew Notch was a terrible person, and like back when he still owned Minecraft and was still working on it, and like I bought Starforge, I think it was called. I think that's right. and it's nothing. Like there's not even a full game there, like at
Yeah.
all. It's been like 10 years since then, and there's still not a full game there.
Yeah,
There's
they-
still not even what I would consider enough of an early access game to sell. I hate that game. I've only played it for like 10 minutes or something, but that was before Steam did refunds.
Yeah,
So
they abandoned it, didn't they?
I think so. I would have. There's no game there. I wouldn't have. There was no chance of it ever being anything fun.
So there's a few titles I want to shout out here. And I don't necessarily have connections to these titles per se, but I do remember them making huge waves when the news around these titles broke. First of all, being Mighty Number 9.
Oh yeah.
that
I don't have a
was
personal
a-
attachment, but
I,
yeah.
I don't either, but to Mega Man fans who were looking forward to this game,
Yeah,
what a
I'm fortunate
disappointment
enough-
they must have experienced.
I became a Mega Man fan like around the release of that game, so like I kind of missed out on the worst of it. I didn't care at the time it came out. I didn't care until just after.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys have Shovel Knight. Like, is it really that big a deal that Mighty Number 9 was terrible? I don't know.
But it was made by like the same creator. It was made by
It was.
And that's what
promised
Inafune
a
would
lot.
like you to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was definitely like a notable disappointment in the industry. Have you guys heard of Scalebound?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
wasn't that?
But that's a disappointment because it's vaporware, right? Like,
Yeah, it was a massive AAA Xbox exclusive game that was in development for a while, and then it just kind of got canned. I
yeah,
feel like,
wasn't it platinum?
and especially to I think it was, but especially put yourself in the shoes of like an Xbox One owner in like 2015. You basically don't really have anything on your console when you compare it to your contemporaries, and then you're kind of banking on this being like a massive release, and then it just gets canceled. Like that was like, I'm sure like projects get canceled all the time, but like this is the first time we had known of one, actually seen like footage of it, and then like publicly like we saw it get canceled, so that was a pretty big deal at the time.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of games. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this game's gonna be great," and then it just doesn't appear.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it called? Two Human, Silicon Knights last game.
not familiar.
Well, it had like an 8-year development cycle, and it was.
I'll Duke
mismanaged.
Nukem Forever probably belongs on our list.
Oh, yeah,
Speaking
for
of games
sure.
with eternal development cycles. I think it's interesting to look at some games that historically were super disappointing, but like now are beloved, like Wind Waker.
I don't know. I feel like Wind Waker at the time, it was just like a super vocal minority saying that they didn't like it. I don't think that was like the consensus opinion at all.
See, I wasn't around for it because I was too young. I was just like, it was like my first Zelda game, so I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wind Waker was incredible.
Wind Waker's
Mhm.
good. I just never played it because I ignored a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's
was that
pretty
guy
cool.
that ignored a lot of the GameCube titles.
Yeah. I think one that got me was I expected to like Kingdom Hearts. I didn't expect to be a huge fan of it, but my cousin lent me Kingdom Hearts, and that game's not fun. Like, I'm sorry to anybody who likes it, but there's not a fun moment in that game. Like,
It's very.
It's
the
just-
story is also equally like.
and it's
anime-
hard
it's
to go
anime
back
nonsense.
and want to learn about the first one, knowing like what the series ended up becoming, like knowing that it became a convoluted mess, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 happened, and all you do is watch Disney movies with Sora in the background. Like,
You have to play
Yeah,
like
at
every
some
single
point-
Kingdom Hearts game to understand the lore, and that's nuts.
And like all the optional ancillary titles too.
Yeah, you literally have to play hundreds of bad games to get an understanding enough to play the third game.
Yeah, I've come very close multiple times to biting the bullet on jumping into Kingdom Hearts, but I've stopped myself each time, and I
I've
don't.
tried, and it's not a good game. Like,
Yeah, maybe
the
one day I'll give it
tutorial
a
is like
shot.
2.5 hours long, and I've never made it through it. And
Oh
like,
God.
the combat is not fun. Like, so I don't think it's ever gonna get better. I don't know. It's just not.
Your game.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think maybe you had to be like a certain
were-
age to
yeah,
get into Kingdom Hearts, and like, there's a
If
ton
you
of
were
people
in
that were
on that
age.
first game, then
Yeah.
I think you're in for life, for better or
Yeah,
worse.
like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I
And
remember.
Starbound got me too. That's what I thought of when you were saying Scalebound, Starbound, the Chucklefish game.
Yes.
Because it got announced like right around the time Terraria said that it was getting no more updates, and that was kind of heartbreaking to me because I love Terraria, and of course it ended up not being true. Terraria got more updates, but they announced Starbound, and Starbound has just kind of been heartbreak after heartbreak for me because like they released a beta and the game was like okay, and I had some fun playing it, and I was like, well, it's it's just a beta, it's gonna get better, and then they released the full game, and it is, in my opinion, in every way that matters, worse than the beta they released.
That's rough.
And then I find out that they used child labor to make it, like, and Chucklefish is just a terrible company, and they also like were awful to they like outed a trans employee in front of everybody, and like they're just bad people, and like that is disappointing to me because they were like indie. Like I followed every Starbound developer. I followed all of them on Twitter, and I still follow a lot of them because they're the reason I know that all this stuff went down at Chucklefish.
Yeah.
But like that is disappointing. But that's almost disappointing more because like never meet your heroes.
Right. Never look behind the curtain.
Yeah, never just.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to be blissfully unaware of the games industry because then you can just.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if speaking of blissfully unaware of the games industry, anybody see how CD Projekt Red broke their no crunch promise for? That's disappointing.
That is disappointing,
yeah.
but
Cyberpunk.
Please revisit your training.
it happens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Crunch is still an integral part of this industry that I feel like it'll take years and years for that to be addressed.
Crunch is not an integral part of the industry. Bad management is an integral part of the industry.
No, but
I think they're getting paid for their
integral
crunch,
in the
though,
sense that
so.
almost all AAA titles have crunch. You know,
because of bad management, though. Like, you don't get crunch if you have management that knows what they're doing. It just doesn't.
Isn't it bug
I mean,
fixing
I'd love to
crunch?
see examples of AAA games that don't do crunch. Like,
I mean, there are studios that don't do crunch. I don't know off the top of my head, but I've looked at jobs at places, and a lot of them are not AAA. It's a lot of indies, but like, it's not possible that crunch is necessary to make a good game. That's not possible. Like,
yeah, I think it's just been so
Because
normalized that they don't know. The
games
people
are
working
just
those
software.
jobs. Yeah, don't know how to. Because I think there's so many factors, right? Like I think part of it is due to like publishers and the people, like investors and stuff, being like, okay, this game needs to come out now, and
Yeah.
that's not how software works. You and I both
Yeah.
know that firsthand. Like,
yeah,
so, once a deadline's set, like for better or worse, they have to scramble to reach it, and it just sucks.
yeah.
I will leave you guys with one game that I am very surprised has not been brought up yet. Anthem.
Oh yeah,
Didn't care. Never
I
cared.
didn't care.
I looked at it and I was like, well, this isn't going to be that great.
Yeah,
like, the movement
I-
looked really good.
I never tried it, but I remember looking or watching rather that E3 reveal trailer for Anthem and being kind of
Yeah, it looked
just
like
so-
like an Iron Man game almost. Like it
Yeah,
looked
it-
super fun, but
it
I was like,
looked
it's
incredible.
EA. I don't buy it.
Yeah, it looked incredible, but EA did their EA thing, and then we all know.
I
how
also
they
just don't.
turned
I
out.
didn't trust BioWare at the time. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
if it would have been announced, maybe when Anthem was announced, like a couple months after Andromeda.
But here's the thing, like so say even like it was announced before Andromeda, Anthem is not the kind of game that BioWare makes.
Yeah.
It's like, why are they making this game? I feel like it's just them trying
doing
to.
a lot of that lately, like having
Yeah.
developers make games that are not like their forte, and I don't know why they're doing it.
As they can.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, if they had poured all of those resources, if they had like the main team instead of like their side team make the next Mass Effect, how differently would we think of BioWare right now?
Yeah.
It's interesting to consider.
I probably wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah,
Honestly.
probably wouldn't have had my childhood ruined.
I wasn't
yeah,
my
anyway.
childhood. I was a consenting adult for that one.
Oh yeah, for Mass Effect Andromeda for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other disappointments, grievances you wanna air out?
I think
Now,
I'm good.
for-
Spore's really the only one that my first and only heartbreak, really.
first
Yeah.
first love,
Never
first
again.
heartbreak.
Your heart was steeled after that.
Yeah, my poor 11-year-old heart. Yeah. Honest to God, I swear that hurt more than actual heartbreak.
Connor was ready for his first breakup after Spore.
I was, yeah, 11 years old, ready for it. You know, I knew that I knew happiness was an illusion. Young.
Just to sort of end on a positive note, though, for this section, I will say that personally, I have been, my expectations have been met or exceeded a lot of times for games that I'm excited for, rather than disappointed.
Yeah,
You
I'd
know,
say
like-
Dark Souls was that for me. I was incredibly hyped for Dark Souls, and I was disappointed in Dark Souls when it came out because I was bad at video games,
Yeah.
and then I returned to it years later and loved it. And it's one
I've
of my
heard that
favorite
story
games of all
so
time.
many times from so many different people. You know, like they tried Dark Souls, they're like, "What is this nonsense? This is terrible." Come back 3 years later, it's like my favorite game of all time.
Well,
you know?
again, I was pretty young when Dark Souls came out. That was like 2012, wasn't it? Or no,
Yes.
2011.
2011.
Yeah, so I would have been like, you know,
Because I
was in
remember
high
getting
school.
it around the time I got Skyrim. Yeah.
Yeah, and Skyrim was 11, 11, 11. I'll never forget that.
Never forget
And
the launch
Uncharted
of Skyrim.
3 was 11/1/11. Won't forget that either.
Yeah, because I remember Uncharted 3 had this big Subway promotion. Don't know why. I just remember going to a Subway and seeing Nathan Drake. on
Nathan
the
Drake
pub.
rubs me as the real Subway guy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Such a,
But yeah,
such
he
a
doesn't
weird
make
cross promotion.
sandwiches.
Overall, I think my expectations have been exceeded more than I've been disappointed. Like I was so excited for God of War 2018 and it delivered and then some. I
I would not say the same for myself. My expectations are usually pretty spot on. Actually, the one exception is Super Mario Odyssey. I remember on this podcast, I at one point said that I did not expect Super Mario Odyssey
Right.
could possibly beat A Hat in Time, but that was coming off of Nintendo making like 5 new Super Mario Bros. Games in a row, and like
right. All of which
you
were
know,
just kind of meh, in my opinion.
yeah, Super Mario 3D World was pretty good, but it was not what I wanted from a Mario game.
Right.
So that was a pleasant surprise. For sure.
Speaking of Mario games, guess what I've been playing?
Oh no.
3D All Stars.
I've been playing a lot of Civ 6, but I've also been playing. I've been playing 3D All Stars as well. And let me tell you, those Mario games are really, really, really good.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, obviously I'm disappointed that there's no 60 FPS for Sunshine and 64.
Yeah.
But okay, let me go through each of the 3 games because I've played each one for a couple hours now. 64, the controls are a lot. I don't want to say worse, but a lot floatier than I remembered. You know, like
Yeah, I figured you were gonna have. I figured that would be the case because I've played. Yeah, like I remember us saying like, man, I would really like some Odyssey controls in 64, and you said no, 64's controls are flawless. How
no,
how dare you
Yeah,
suggest
Dare
we
I
change them?
definitely. So yeah, that was definitely me being wrong because I haven't played 64 in years and years and years.
See, I was playing 64
playing it-
earlier this year
but-
on my N64.
Yeah,
Like,
but just playing it, I'm just like, these controls, like, what is going on here? Why is everything so finicky? And the camera kind of sucks, and like, I don't remember these things, but like, you know, it's funny, you know, like 20 years later, you play this game, it's just like not quite how you remember it. But you know,
it has pretty good controls if you want to play Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 DS.
yeah.
Yeah, just play Super Mario 64 DS.
But okay, but here's the thing. That being said, the nostalgia factor definitely like won over, in my opinion. Like, even though the controls weren't ideal.
Oh yeah, I don't even think you need the nostalgia factor. Like Super Mario 64, the controls are not bad. They're like not flawless. Like
They're just
a lot of
not
people
what
wanna
I'm
say
used
they are.
to. Like,
Yeah.
like Mario Odyssey's controls are just perfection.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I mean, really, starting with Sunshine, they got it right. Like Sunshine's controls are flawless in my opinion.
But yeah, let me move on to Sunshine. Immediately I noticed the movement, the jumping, way snappier, way more responsive, it feels way better.
Yeah.
The only thing that really bothered me and was really jarring going from 64 to Sunshine that Mario lost his dive.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously like just
Wait.
playing the two, like
No, he didn't.
What?
What?
He didn't lose his dive in
No, 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 no.
Sunshine.
wait, I'm messing something up. He lost his long jump, sorry.
Yes, he
Yeah.
lost his long jump.
Yeah. He lost his dive in Galaxy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
So he
Galaxy
lost-
has a very
yeah.
simplified control set.
Yeah, so he lost his long jump in Sunshine, and that was probably my favorite move. I love the long jump. I think it's so much fun to execute and move around with. That being said, like Delfino Plaza is one of the best like sandboxy hubs ever made, I think.
It really
Oh yeah,
is.
it's very lively.
It's so much more fun. Like, I love Peach's Castle, and I like the secret stars there and stuff, but I think the secret stars hidden in Delfino Plaza are just way more interesting by merit of, like, Delfino Plaza is almost like a level, you know?
Yeah. And I will say for 64, just for a second, I forgot that exploring the castle and finding secret rooms and secret paintings, I forgot how much fun that was. That was totally an element I wasn't expecting when I was replaying 64, just uncovering these little nooks and crannies in the castle, and I really appreciated that. But yeah, back to
don't get
Sunshine. Sorry, what?
I don't get that anymore when I play it because I remember where everything is.
Oh,
in that
right,
game.
yeah.
I could draw a map of Peach's Castle and put every single star on it right now. Like,
That's yeah.
That's so
I
weird,
definitely
but-
I'm not anywhere close to that level, but like it was to the point where like yeah, I did experience the joy of discovery again in that game, which is really cool. But yeah, for Sunshine, like Flood, the one thing that really annoyed me, like extremely annoyed me about Sunshine, were the unskippable cutscenes at the beginning. Like
Really?
those were just gratuitous, and I just wanted to get moving with Mario, you know, like that's kind of what I was looking for. I love how 64 was just like instant, here's 2 blocks of text, now you're jumping around the courtyard of the castle.
that's fair.
And then Sunshine, you know, like Mario's on the plane, you watch a cutscene, you fight this weird goop thing, another cutscene, it's just you're in
Fight
jail
another
now.
weird goop thing.
It's like you're getting sentenced to community service. I was just like, what is
See,
this?
I
Let me
think the
play
story
Mario.
in Sunshine is so funny that it's fine to me. Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah,
and I like
so
that.
bizarre. But like I was just looking to get into gameplay at that point, which is why it irked me so much. But once that happened, like I was fine. You know, like I think it's really cool comboing your platforming with Flood. You know, like spraying,
Yeah.
like in front of you, and then diving onto that and accelerating and flipping up.
Yeah. I do wish that there was even a single level in Sunshine that actually demanded you do any of that. But like,
Yeah.
you know, I like that I can do it.
And you know, like just going from 64 to Sunshine, the levels are so much bigger and more varied. I think, you know,
It's
like
also the
just-
vibrancy. Something about like
yeah, like the atmosphere in
colors.
Sunshine is
Yeah.
so on point.
Sunshine has a very solid understanding, like almost a Spyro level of understanding of color theory. I think that like 64 had fun colors. Sunshine like has like tells a story with the color in each level, like
Yeah.
in a way
Yeah.
that really only it really may be the only other game I've played that does it as well as Spyro.
you could definitely feel like a lot of Sunshine, which you could definitely feel like you're on a tropical island.
Yeah, and they managed to do that without making all the levels feel samey, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I hear some people say that they don't like Sunshine because it's like every level's the beach level, but that's not true. Like you have the haunted mansion in the haunted hotel. You have like the amusement park. You have the beach level, Gelato Beach. But like, I don't know.
You have like
I
the
really don't
industrial
agree.
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rico Harbor. Yeah.
And obviously, you know, I'm not too far into all of these games yet, you know, but like from the couple hours I played, you know, like what struck me immediately was just the levels were just so much, I want to say better almost, 64. Like 64 levels were really basic, but like iconic at the same time. But it felt like Sunshine was like a direct evolution of those.
Yeah, Sunshine is the most replayable of the 3D Mario games, in my opinion.
So, okay, so let me continue now. All that being said, Galaxy, what a magical game Super Mario Galaxy is.
Yeah.
Like, I think Super Mario Galaxy might be the best 3D Mario game. I'm not sure yet. I have to keep playing. But like, and again, one thing, you know, playing all these back to back to back, the different controls for Mario are a little jarring. Again, so in this one, he had his long jump but didn't have a dive, which was kind of weird. But you
It
know,
feels so good to just long jump into orbit in that game.
yes. Yeah, like I think the thing about Mario Odyssey for me is just the sheer level of creativity on display at all times. It's almost like how did they even make this game? Like it's
Yeah.
it's just brilliant at all times. It's stunning. Like it seems like every level introduces new mechanics that don't feel like tacky, that feel like they integrate perfectly with like the space themes of the game. The gravity controls are immaculate. Like,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
love how like and the levels themselves, like it plays a trick on you, right? Because like the levels themselves are as big or bigger than they've ever been, but like they consist of like smallish planetoids, right? So you feel like you're knocking out levels, you're knocking out sections really quickly, when in reality, like all of those are part of like one level. But like,
Yeah.
I think so. So Mario Galaxy like does a really good job of like making you feel satisfied that you're getting places, like or like completing the game, even if you haven't even finished an entire level. Just because like each like section, each planetoid is like a small puzzle that leads to the level's completion. I don't know, man. Like
Galaxy is also the first Mario game in 3D that really was able to like do platforming challenges well. Like, because it would just be like, hey, is this, some of the galaxies are straightforward platforming puzzles. Some of them are a little more wide open. Like you have your Battle Rock Galaxy, I think it's called, or Battle Star, I forget, where it's like this big platforming challenge. It's an auto-scroller type deal. But then you'd also have your levels that are like Beach Bowl Galaxy or Honey Hive Galaxy, where like there's this one big main area and you're like looking for stuff, more like a 64 level. And I like that it has both. I think it's really cool. I honestly think it did a better job of that than Odyssey. Like, because in Odyssey you have to like go to these other areas to do your platforming challenges.
And don't get me wrong, I
that's
still think
fine.
in terms of mechanics, I think like Super Mario Odyssey has the best controlling Mario, but like the controls in Galaxy are just about perfect as well. And yes, they are floaty, but the floatiness sort of makes more sense here because of the
because you're in space.
gravity defying stuff. And
Also,
it's just a joy to play. Like I don't know how to put it any more simply than that. Like the simple act of playing Galaxy, just experiencing Galaxy is a pleasure in and of itself.
Galaxy looks so good. Like that game does water better than a lot of games that released like as late as 2018. Like,
it's funny. Like I was playing a lot handheld, right? And when I first booted up Galaxy, and like I was in the main courtyard area, right? Like right before before the game essentially starts. I ran around, jumped around a little bit, looked around. I was like, nope, can't do it. I have to play this on my TV. Like, there's no way. Like, it was too. It was the art direction and the graphics and just the style of the game and the fluidity. It was just too good not to experience that in the best possible quality.
I mean, it looks almost as good as Odyssey. Like, despite being 10 years old? No, more than 10 years old now. 13 years old, I think.
Yeah, something like 13. I think.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's
so
Nintendo
I think
for you.
out of all the games I played on the collection so far, I definitely think Galaxy impresses me the most.
I've been itching to replay it and Galaxy 2.
Which I think is just a testament to that, like, Galaxy is just like one of the greatest games of all time, easily. Like I don't think anyone can even refute that.
Have you played Galaxy 2?
I've played a little bit of it, but not nearly as much as Galaxy 1. And I know
you should really check it out. I know it's not in the collection. You might have to, find alternative means. But that game is really good.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear like it's every bit as good, if not better than Galaxy, which is just like I can't even comprehend how that's possible.
Yeah. The thing about Galaxy 2 is that it doesn't really capture the atmosphere like Galaxy 1 does. Like the hub world is garbage and might as well not be there.
And it's just little things about the hub world, like the music getting more expansive as you get more stars and stuff.
Have you got any of the Rosalina storybook sections yet?
Not yet.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I remember them from the first time I played, but yeah,
I won't say any more.
I'm most looking forward to playing Galaxy out of the 3 games in that collection, which, I don't know, take from that what you will. So that's what I've been playing.
Mike, you want to go next or me?
I've really, other than Total Warhammer 2, which I think I talked about a while ago, but that was before like 100 updates to it.
Yeah, so how is it now?
Oh boy, I've been playing the orcs, and oh my, there's nothing more fun than being one of the boys and swarming
like
down the
stunty.
Stunting down, swarming down some stunties.
So maybe just educate me a little bit. Isn't like Total War, like a thing beyond just games? Like
I think
Warhammer?
it's a board game as
Yeah,
well, isn't
Warhammer
it?
Yeah.
is a board game. It has two components, Warhammer Fantasy and 40K. Total Warhammer is based off of Warhammer Fantasy, which I think was the original universe. If I'm not mistaken. But it's very much a game about conquering and doing as much damage as possible. And
yeah,
I love
this,
it.
This sounds up my alley. You know, like I've been like I didn't talk about it in depth because I've done it already, but I've been playing so much Civ 6, specifically with my cousin, because like it's so fun to play those strategy games like with people. So I think, you know, like we're definitely looking for things beyond Civ as well. So,
Total War's good because it also has the real-time battle segment. Like, you're not at the mercy of RNG as much when you're doing battles or battling on the campaign map or whatever. Like in Civ, there's always that issue of, oh god, there's a chance my tanks could get destroyed by some spearmen. And Total War, if you are good enough at the game, you can win the game with you can win a battle with a single unit.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, like I think that's such an interesting concept that we don't really see too much. The combination of strategy and like mechanics-based combat. Like, yeah, I feel like that's definitely something I wanna experience.
Like, it's one of those games that you should probably play, and I can point you at what games to start with, namely Shogun, which is viewed as one of the best.
Shogun. Okay.
Yeah, it's Shogunate Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just samurais, which I think a lot of people view as the best game. My first one was Medieval 2, which was before Shogun 2. Yeah, it was before Shogun 2. But it's a game series that I've loved for a while, and it gives you a lot of freedom to do a lot of weird things. The AI in the older games is jank in a good way, and it's very easy to exploit, but it's still a fun game. And there's a big, passionate modding community around a lot of the older games.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me that recommendation because I remember Googling Total War one time and just being bombarded with so many different things. I really didn't even know where to start. But yeah, I'll look into that Shogun game.
Yeah,
first.
Shogun 2, it's on sale a lot.
Okay.
I think on Steam very frequently. Maybe every sale they throw it on sale. Because it is, what is it now, 6-7 years old? Still holds up. People still play it very frequently. Then you have your other games. But onwards to the rest of Total War, it's just a fun game to play. Like, there's nothing bad about it. I was playing as, like, the Empire and using my big cannons to melt people. I just got bored. But something about the combination of a strategy layer and then being able to actually win the battles through tactics instead of being at the mercy of some random numbers is what gets it. Like, I've won battles where I've clearly been outnumbered, but I know the game well enough to
Credits deposited.
sometimes exploit the AI and other times just plain win the battle. Like, there's a lot of AI exploitation to do. Because when a lot of times the AI cheats.
Caution. Tether supplies are low.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that AI exploitation is a part of any strategy game. But yeah, like the combination of like those two, like you said, the strategy as well as like the combat is definitely unique, and I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's a series that's been used a lot and been through a lot, but I love it to death, and every Total War game that gets announced, I look forward to, except for the Total War sagas, which are always bad.
Noted.
Just don't play them. They're not Total War games. They're like Total War likes. They also have a card game if that's your stick.
Yeah, I saw that when I was doing my research and just got confused.
I
so
don't know
stopped.
why it exists.
All right. What about you, Connor?
I got two games I kind of want to talk about this week. I'm going to open with a game called Hades.
God,
It's
I
been in
want
early
to
access.
play this game.
Yeah, it's been in early access for a long time. Well, not a long time. I think a year, maybe a little more. Mike, you might know better than me. You keep track of early access games, right?
I didn't keep track of Hades,
Okay.
unfortunately.
But anyway, it's like Super Giant Games, and like they made Bastion, which is the only game they had made that I'd played before, but I really liked
Did
it.
they make Transistor as well?
Yes.
Yes,
I
they did.
remember kind of liking Transistor.
Yeah, so Hades is like an isometric beat 'em up roguelike where you play as or I guess you could call it a dungeon crawler. I don't know. You play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, and you're in the underworld, and you start at the very bottom of the underworld, and Zagreus has decided that he wants to leave the underworld. Hades, his father, is like, do whatever, you're never gonna make it out of here. No one has ever made it out of here. And you were like trained by Achilles. Yeah, Orpheus is hanging out in the hub area that you're in before you go into the game. You meet Sisyphus as you're walking around. You meet like all of the gods, Dionysus, Aphrodite, Zeus, obviously, Poseidon, all these gods. You meet them as you go, and like I was slightly disappointed by this because it was pitched to me as like almost dating sim level reactions with these other characters, and that's not true at all. But you do like sort of gradually form relationships with them by like taking powers from them, and those are your power-ups in this roguelike. Sort of like the items you would find in like Binding of Isaac or something. And yeah, you get different powers from them, and you can level up those powers as you fight, and it's really cool. You have like, I want to say 7, it might be 6 weapons you can use, and all the weapon playstyles are different enough that like it's super fun to shake it up and use different ones, although you will probably have a favorite. Mine is the spear, because I like that you can kind of throw it. There's a shield that you can like Captain America throw, but you can also block. It's the only one that has defensive abilities, and you can like bull rush with it. But like when you Captain America throw it, it bounces around all the different enemies. But I got an upgrade for my spear one time that I look for every time I play now, that made it so that when you throw the spear, it also bounces around and hits up to 7 enemies, and that just felt extremely overpowered to me. And you get that sometimes.
Kind of like
But it's
Binding
also
of
a
Isaac.
game. It's a lot like the Binding of Isaac, except you do like that's probably the best comparison in my mind. It's the Binding of Isaac, except it's more of a instead of being like a top-down shmuppy sort of thing, it's more of a isometric like brawler type deal. So you just walk into these rooms full of enemies, kill all the enemies, get your upgrade from that room, and move on. And that's it. The only thing that does kind of bother me is that the bosses, there's like a little bit of variation in the bosses every time, but for the most part, you're fighting the same handful of bosses every single run. I haven't beat the game yet. I think I'm pretty close. And it's not incredibly difficult either. Like, I don't feel crushed by the game. Partially because you get permanent upgrades as you play. Like, my current total health
That's
pool has doubled from what it started out at. See, some people would say that's good. I don't love that. I like roguelikes where the only improvement, like, I like a roguelike where I could pick up a game with a fresh save and I could beat it immediately just because I got good at the game.
I mean, I liked Rogue Legacy because of the incremental upgrades you could get.
Yeah, some people like that, and I don't hate it. It's done well in this game, and I also like that, like, all of your deaths are canon. Like,
Oh,
you know,
really?
yeah, you get back to the bottom, and Hades is like, didn't make it this time, did you? And like,
Yeah. The more I
Hypnos, I think
hear
is his
about this
name.
game, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, the more I hear about this game, the more I really, really want to play it.
I think my favorite part about it is the writing, because I am not somebody who is typically into the Greek gods and stuff. Like, the Greek mythology just doesn't interest me that much. I can't stand Hercules, the Disney movie. I don't think it's interesting at all. But this game, it doesn't shy away from some of the weirder parts. And like, Zagreus is a hero, like a character I've never heard of, but apparently he is. Like, he's not original.
Okay.
Hades really did have a son named Zagreus, and that's who this is about. And it's just a story that isn't told a whole lot. That's why they picked him, and it's super fun. You know, I will eventually finish it, but not before I play the absolute crap out of Spelunky 2, which came out yesterday. And Spelunky 2, I don't even know what to say about it. It's just a chance to play Spelunky blind, and I haven't had that in since 2008, essentially, when
Yeah.
Spelunky Classic came out. Like, I don't remember what secrets I discovered for myself. And like, I think I found the black market by myself originally, but everything after that for the Hell run was spoiled for me in Spelunky 1. But Spelunky 2, I have no spoilers. And it's like every single thing, like I've already solved some of the secrets and all, but like, it's just so exciting knowing that I haven't even seen all the areas yet. Like, that's incredible to me.
Yeah.
And I just know that there are like massive secrets. Like, I don't know if the worm is in this game. I don't know. A lot of the secret areas now are like their presentation is just totally different. Some of the areas, like, you can see, like, typically there's a bottom to a Spelunky level. Like, you can't go below a certain area, and that's where the door typically is. But there are some levels where you can see that the door clearly has destructible terrain under it. And so you're like, well, what's down there? You don't know. And
Yeah.
it's like, you got to figure out how to get down there, and it's super fun. And I'm just loving this game.
Yeah, remember when I said I loved exploration and that's my favorite mechanic in games generally? Like, I really want to play this game too. There's so many...
If you're picking between Spelunky 2 and Hades, I have to tell you, you gotta go Spelunky 2.
Okay.
Because Hades does not really have an exploratory factor to it. It does not feel like you're exploring the underworld.
Right. Right. I know Hades doesn't have that, but I am a huge fan of Supergiant games. I love, like Transistor, and I just from everything I've seen gameplay-wise of this game, seems like it'll gel with me for different reasons than Spelunky 2. But yeah.
With Spelunky 2, like, there have been a couple of things, like one of the puzzles I solved, like, just like seeing something in one area and immediately knowing, like, oh, I need this item that I saw in this other area, so I'll have to do that my next run. But like, and then being right, like, that was the biggest Indiana Jones feeling moment. Like,
Yeah.
and also, like, Spelunky 2 is hard. Like, Spelunky 1, I can get to the temple pretty consistently now, and typically I can beat Olmec now that I've done it once. And I don't know if I announced that on the podcast yet, but I did do a full run of Spelunky and beat it, and now I can do it fairly consistently.
Yeah. You did mention you beat it for the first time in the last episode.
Yeah, but I beat it for realsies this time. I haven't done the Hell run or the Eggplant run, and since Spelunky 2 is out, that's probably not going to happen for a while. But Spelunky 2, I was playing for hours before I made it out of the first area. Like, it just, like, the subtle differences, like, maybe... my peripheral vision doesn't pick up the dart traps anymore, so they catch me off guard. There are some new enemies and stuff, but I was just getting annihilated in the mines. And that is exciting to me.
Material deposited.
I am in love with this game. I can't stop playing it. It's killing me that I'm not playing it right now.
Well, we could wrap up here, and you can get back to it.
I do kind of want to talk about Hard Space since it's been in the background.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
There's something about it that's just like soothing to methodically rip apart a ship. I don't know what it is. There were some oopsies along the way. I almost exploded.
No, I mean, I've been watching your gameplay this whole time we've been recording, right? And it's very zen-like, like it's just cool watching you float around this seemingly derelict giant spacecraft and just tear it to bits.
It seems daunting, but once you know what you're doing, it's just very methodical. Like, the only time I stressed this entire time was that reactor because it wasn't coming out properly.
What about that explosion?
Oh, that was me. I forgot that waste disposal doesn't go down there, and I kind of drug it up and it exploded down there. Doesn't really matter. I just lost a little bit of money, but it kind of looked cool.
Yeah, it looked cool. It also looked bad. Like, it looked scary.
No, I haven't blown up a reactor yet. I could do that real quick after this hunk of junk falls in there. It takes me like 5 seconds to really blow up a reactor. Like, it's very easy to ruin everything in one fell swoop. Like, I cut a fuel line and the entire ship went up.
Raw
Yeah.
material processed.
But
That'd be cool to see.
if you do
I don't
it
think
right,
there's enough ship left.
oh no, the ship's gone. I can just go to free play and grab a free ship and not care if I die or not. I just wanted to get this entire ship gone.
Is that the last piece that you're throwing
Yeah, that
into
was the
that
last
incinerator?
piece. Oh, I missed a part. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it only took 78 minutes, and I took my time with this one.
Mm-hmm.
And typically,
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it ended like we're wrapping up the podcast now, and I feel like you finished tearing up that ship around the same time. It was good
I
timing.
was there was a point when I was throwing away seats. I normally don't do that, but I needed to buy time.
Ah, okay.
So, hold on, let me blow up a reactor real pretty.
All right. So while you do that, I'm gonna give our ending spiel here. We are wrapping up the podcast now, guys. Thank you for listening. You can follow us at @podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, etc., wherever you get your podcasts. And please subscribe to us and comment on YouTube. We now have a YouTube presence. We upload YouTube videos pretty much once a week now. They're video forms of our audio podcast, so please check that out. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yep. See you guys next week.
See you next week.